July 19th. 2011. After the smashing success of 2010's famous summer block, The Boiling Point, Degrassi had just entered the summer of 2011 with its new summer block, this year titled Now or Never. 4 times a week for 7 weeks straight, a new Degrassi episode would drop on Teen Nick. That's why the summer block was the best time of year to be into Degrassi. With all those new episodes, it was guaranteed to be a relentless storm of drama. Important, life-altering, fictional shit was bound to go down, and set us up for a very eventful school year. And I mean very eventful. Like, this season was set to last until May of 2012. On July 19th, 2011, teenagers all over the USA and Canada would tune into the newest episode of Degrassi: The Next Generation, titled Love Games. But we had no idea our lives were about to be changed by the most iconic meltdown in Degrassi history. I know the monologue. I know you know the monologue. All together now. Did you flip a switch and erase me from your memory? Did you ever love me at all? It's still such a rush. And yes, of course, it was a Claire Edwards moment. Y'all know we're riding that content train this year. So what was it that brought Claire to such a place? What was it that pushed her over the edge so that these words had to be said? To figure that out, we're gonna have to do a mini Degrassi deep dive on Claire's 3-month romantic relationship with emo heartthrob Eli Goldsworthy. So let's get started on that. Claire and Eli first meet in season 10, episode 4, titled Breakaway. At the end of the episode, Eli pulls into the school parking lot in all his elite emo boy glory. And of course, he rolls up in a straight up hearse. He's named it Morty. Eli accidentally runs over Claire's glasses because she's dropped them on the pavement. But that's okay, because she just got LASIK eye surgery anyway. And on top of that, Eli's hot. She doesn't even need her glasses to see that anymore. At this point, Eli is probably the most significant crush that Claire has had since her whole vampire crush on Declan Coyne. And Eli really makes an impact, because he's just not the kind of guy that a girl like Claire normally goes for, you know? Eli's really edgy, and while he's also a creative writer like Claire, he writes about really dark stuff. Things like death and love that ends in tragedy. And he drives a hearse. Remember that? Clearly nobody's ever told Eli, dude, that's a little much. And on top of all that, Eli is a total atheist. He and Claire are in the same literature class, so by writing together and editing each other's work, they help each other improve their craft, and they grow really close on a personal level. Naturally, their feelings develop into romance, and by the time they become official boyfriends and girlfriends, it feels solid. Like they have enough in common, and they're challenging each other in ways to help them grow, and they're just plain attracted to each other. The fandom got attached to these guys real quick, because at this point, from both a story perspective and just a realism perspective, these guys should have really worked out in the end. But nope. No. I think you're confused. This is Degrassi? You think you can just be happy and like get away with it? Not here, you won't. Despite their obvious chemistry throughout seasons 10 and 11 of Degrassi TNG, Eli and Claire would get put through a lot. Like, a lot. Claire was already struggling with her parents' imminent divorce. She was struggling with her faith. She was struggling to figure out what she was about in general. Meanwhile, Eli was still in the process of mourning his ex-girlfriend Julia, who'd passed away in a car accident the year before. And the last time he ever even spoke to Julia, they had an argument, so he's completely lacking that closure. And on top of that, Eli starts experiencing these increasingly severe symptoms of these, at the time, undiagnosed mental illnesses of his, primarily OCD and bipolar disorder. And then on top of all of that, you've got the whole Eli starting this macho feud with the school bully named Fitz, which escalates to Eli poisoning Fitz with Ipecac at a school dance. And Fitz responds by attempting to knife Eli to death in the hallway, causing the school to go into into lockdown and forcing Principal Snake to kick off the Degrassi is a prison era, which is why all Degrassi clubs were immediately canceled and the school adopts this strict color-coded uniform policy. That's right, everyone. That whole thing happened largely because Eli Goldsworthy doesn't know when to quit. And from there, with Fitz arrested and out of the picture, Eli and Claire seem to do better for a minute, until Claire discovers Eli's hoarding problem and the real extent of his hang-ups related to his ex-girlfriend. And then Fitz comes back to Degrassi, declaring he's found Jesus. I'm serious. And when he starts trying to form a friendship with Claire over this, it sends Eli right back over the edge. Eli gets paranoid. He lashes out at Claire over and over and accuses her of having feelings for Fitz. He becomes increasingly scared that he's going to lose Claire after he's already lost a girlfriend before in a really traumatic fashion. The seemingly endless ups and downs of the E-Claire relationship had us all by the scruff of the neck. And at the time, generally, we did want to see the relationship succeed, which, yes, kind of indicates that the young audience at the time was still pretty captured by that toxic relationships are actually just intense and super romantic kind of ideology, which I won't blame entirely on the show, because I'm sure that's not how they really wanted us to interpret the situation. But at the time, teenage girls were still really used to consuming romance stories that way. The whole conversation about promoting healthy relationships in media made for teenagers was still pretty small scale, though we probably should have taken a hint after their next big breakup. See, while Claire and Eli were still at odds over Claire's acquaintanceship with Fitz, Eli was in the middle of writing this short story. He first writes it as this typical gothic love story, but taking inspiration from the whole Claire and Fitz thing, he changes the ending so that the protagonist murders his lover and then drinks her blood so they can be together forever. Which makes Claire start thinking that maybe something's really wrong. She suspects that these scary behaviors are tied to Eli's memory of his ex Julia, so she starts seeking space from Eli, leading her to choose to go to the school's spring formal instead of this planned weekend trip she had with Eli. That night, they have this explosive argument on the phone. During it, Claire blurts out that she hates Morty the hearse, and so Eli crashes the fuck out. And by that I mean he crashes the fuck out of Morty and destroys the car with him inside. When Claire finds out, she runs to the hospital to find Eli there with a broken leg. Eli tells Claire that Morty's gone, so that means they can be together forever now. But Claire breaks up with Eli because she doesn't want to get manipulated anymore. She leaves him behind. They all go off on spring break, and now here we are. Here we finally are at season 11, episode 3, Love Games. So let's watch this shit go down already. The episode starts with Claire getting ready for school, trying to pick a hair accessory for the day. Here we learn that she does not know how to wear headbands. Come on, Claire, get it together. Remember, she's about to go back to school for the first time after spring break. Eli's just done his car crash. They haven't seen each other in a couple weeks, so she needs to nail this look today. That said, the tiara was a pretty bold option. The school day starts and Eli Goldsworthy hobbles onto the scene. He's still walking off his injury from the car crash, and right off the bat, he seems different. I gotta say that as unlikable as Eli's character can be, Monroe Chambers' performance of him is it's really nuanced. I'm pretty sure that's the word I'm looking for. Just the way he takes a look around the Degrassi foyer like he's looking at it with brand new eyes. That's because he's on a new anti-anxiety medication for his mental health condition, but we're not supposed to know about that till the end. Shh. Right then, Claire and Eli come around the corner, loudly discussing why Claire breaking up with Eli over his hearse stunt was definitely the right choice. Which, let's all be very real, it was the right choice. They probably just shouldn't talk about it with all those people around, you know? Because you never know if you might run into somebody that you wouldn't want overhearing you saying things like that.
Tragedy had to end the way it did, but it had to end.
He was smothering you, Claire. You had no choice.
Yeah, see? Like that. Allie asks Claire if Eli has made any attempt to reach out to her after the crash, and Claire says no. Allie suggests that this is probably a good sign, because he could be intentionally giving Claire the space that she needs.
There's no reason Eli and I can't both be mature about this.
Famous last words. Also, she says it as if these two are known for being mature in even their lowest stakes situations. Then Allie heads to class and Claire goes over to Eli to break the ice. But she's caught off guard when she asks Eli how he is, and he responds that he's doing great. She asks him if he wants to talk, but he's just like, I'm good. See you around. And he goes on his chipper little way, leaving Claire standing there and looking like she thinks Eli owed her a much bigger reaction. After that, Claire and Adam Torres go to Scary Civics class.
Well, here we are, scary civics class. You ready?
Adam quickly realizes there's something off with Claire. She drops her binder and Adam's like, whoa, what's wrong with you today? And Claire's like, Eli told me he was completely fine back there. That sounds fake to me. Does that sound fake to you? Adam explains that he didn't really see Eli over the break much himself, but he assures Claire that the breakup was for the best. Poor Adam gets caught between these two so often. I feel like it's the best thing that ever happened to him too. Then Claire asks Adam if he and Eli are going to go to this thing at Above the Dot tonight, and Adam's like, yeah, maybe. Then we'll cut to after school at Claire's house. Claire's venting to Allie about Eli being over her already and how wrong that is. Allie's like, look, Claire, you're great and all, but it is possible to get over you. Claire's still unconvinced, though. She reminds Allie that Eli's the one who crashed an entire car just to prove his love for her. So in her eyes, it makes zero sense that he's over her like 2 weeks later, keeping in mind she still doesn't know about the medication. So the plan right now is that Claire and Allie are going to go to Above the Dot to see if they can run into Eli. And Above the Dot is like that little teen nightclub Above the Dot, which works out perfectly. Teenagers hate having to go too far away from school to hang out somewhere, day or night. Allie also questions whether Claire is ready to face Eli again so soon, but Claire's like, of course I'm ready. How can I not be ready? I get straight A's, and I don't crash hearses into walls. Obviously, there's just something wrong on Eli's end. Then Helen comes in and she's like, wow, Claire, you sure got dressed up to see the Martins tonight. And Claire's like, dinner with the Martins? I didn't want to have dinner with the Martins. Where'd you get this from? Helen's all, come on, Claire. Jake's coming over too. Don't you want to see him again? That's right. She's talking about Jake, Claire's future stepbro. But at this point in the series, Claire apparently hasn't seen Jake in several years. Since this one time they were kids and he threw a frog at her. Their families were all church friends or something, and so Helen's invited them to dinner tonight to reconnect. And so Claire gets successfully pressured into staying home for dinner tonight. She goes to walk Allie out of the house, and once they get out there, they catch Glenn and Jake as they arrive. And if this funky music is saying something,
Well, hello.
it's probably that Claire likes what she sees, at least a little. Allie also likes seeing Jake. They do a little spinny, flirty, eye contacty thing. Then when Jake makes it to the door, he's all, hey, Claire. Who's your friend? This kid's got some Craig Manning energy from the jump, but like with hiking boots. So then the family sit down for dinner together. Claire's watching Jake eat like she's watching the bears feeding time at the zoo. Helen prods at Claire to tell the Martins all about her writing ventures and how she just got published this past year, which is really cute. I like that she wants to show off her kids' accomplishments. Besides that, it's a really nice character development moment. Because remember, last season was divorce season. There was that whole issue where Claire's parents were missing all her big moments like that because they were just too busy fighting. Claire's being really cagey here, though. I'm not sure if she can already sense that there's something romantic going on with Helen and Glenn, and maybe she thinks it's too soon. Or I don't know, maybe she's just still being all pissy and impatient about not getting to go to the dot above. Did I say the dot above? Is that where Degrassi characters go to die? Is it like the Heaviside Layer in Cats? Up, 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 to the great dot above. I meant above the dot, okay? Let's keep going. Helen won't let Claire's caginess at the table slide, so she goes and exposes her like, sorry about Claire. She's not being herself because she just went through the most batshit crazy teenage breakup of all time. Though maybe the real reason Helen brought this up was to signal to Glenn that she also happens to be single. Claire insists that she's fine, which Glenn explains that he and Jake moved to the city to chase the contracting business up there. Neither of them are city boys. It's not their thing. And then it comes out that Jake is enrolled in Degrassi now. I guess he's that quintessential new kid in every Degrassi fan fiction. To make this worse for Claire, Helen suggests to Claire that she should be Jake's official Degrassi guide while he gets settled in. But this actually gives Claire an ingenious idea. She uses her newly imposed tour guide role as a scheme to trick them into letting her take Jake to Above the Dot tonight to meet her friends, and then by entailment, run into Eli again. Fortunately for her, the parents agree that the Dot would be a great stop for the Jake tour tonight. So Claire forces Jake to put down the fucking chicken, and then she whisks him all the way over there immediately. When they arrive at the Dot, Claire brings Jake over to meet Allie, Casey, Dave, and Sadie. That was that one girl Dave was seeing for a second. I don't know why I'm pointing that out because it's not important today. Of course, Allie's delighted to see Jake again, but not so delighted that she doesn't see right through Claire's little scheme. Before Jake can even get so much as a mouthful of Dave's nachos, Claire spots Eli over by the pool table, so she drags Jake over there to parade him around.
I'm eating.
How are you still hungry?
He needs the extra energy for orienteering, Claire. We all know how orienteering is. Great job making a first impression on this innocent bystander to your life drama, by the way. So Claire introduces Jake to Eli, and Eli's very nice and welcoming to Jake. He's so unbothered by him being there. Jake's starting to piece together that this is like a try to make the ex jealous kind of thing. Eli shoots them one last unbothered smile before trying to go hang out with Adam again. But Claire is seething. Nobody turns their back on Claire motherfucking Edwards. Jake's like, so should we make out? Since we're trying to convince him, apparently. He can tell he's just a prop. Claire gets herself all re-outraged and storms away. Just a few meters away, though, so she can watch Jake making friends with Eli and Adam and getting even more mad about it. She looks like she's about to cry. For real, I get that it's, like, really hard seeing Eli acting so stable, content, healed, all of the above. From Claire's perspective, it's like, where the fuck did this come from? This is the guy who crashed his car into a wall for me. Really? Eventually she hits her breaking point, like she cannot take this anymore. So she storms back over to Eli and demands some acknowledgement, I guess. She asks Eli if they can talk, and he's just like, maybe later, because he's in the middle of a pool game with his friends. But Claire's gonna insist.
We can't just avoid each other forever.
Even though that's not what's been happening. Eli hasn't avoided Claire at all. He just hasn't reacted to seeing her with any amount of passion, I guess. Small difference, but it's there. But Eli relents and he's like, okay, Claire, how was your first day at school? Not exactly the conversation Claire had in mind. She's like, no, we need to dig deeper, Eli. Right here, right now. So Eli tries to explain himself. He's like, look, he's in a good place right now. That's all there is to it on his end. And then he tries to head back to his game again. But Claire has reached her boiling point a season too late. That's right, guys. It's time. Everyone together now.
Did 3 months mean nothing? Did you flip a switch and erase me from your memory? It took you a year! A year to get over your ex! Did you ever love me at all?
Huh. You know, I definitely forget that part about Eli's ex every time. When you pay attention, it's like, that's obviously the real issue here. You know, whenever I recall the scene from memory, I'm always just like, haha, what a Claire moment. Haha, Claire and her Claireness coming all the way out. But every time I actually rewatch this monologue, that part about Julia just slaps me in the face. Like, this is a real issue here, Ari, you low empathy asshole. Like, when you look back on Eli and Claire's relationship and how erratic and toxic it was on both sides, and when you look back on what it was like for you to be a teenage girl, and you remember how easy it was to confuse that kind of toxicity for, like, the deepest love you've ever felt in your life. Like, if that wasn't true love, then why did I have to go through all of that for him? Yeah, right now Claire feels like all that shit she went through before with Eli might have not actually meant as much as she thought it did. And that's more than enough to piss off a 16-year-old. That's more than enough to throw her entire comprehension of the past few months completely upside down. Right now, Claire feels like she suffered for nothing. And not only that, it seems like Eli's the one who escaped the whole ordeal without so much as a scratch. I mean, he got a whole broken leg out of it, but mentally, you know? An inexperienced teenager can easily see their ex seemingly improving after a breakup and interpreting that as like, this person got better because I wasn't in their life anymore, and now they're happier because of it. And that's a really dark feeling to have to sit with. So watching this again as a woman in her 30s, I understand Claire so much better now. Anywho, let's check back in with the room. So everyone's watching Claire while she's screaming at Eli. Jake cuts in and drags her outside. Claire fighting all the way because she's not done yet. Also, I want to point out that Eli has not looked back at Claire at all since she started yelling at him. He's just letting himself get hit in the back with her words. And look at his face. I feel like for those of us who've had a huge mental health crisis kind of thing before, there's always this aftermath part where we have to get up, brush ourselves off, and try to get back into the swing of things. But then everybody who witnessed us at our lowest comes running over like, hey, so what the fuck happened to you back there? And we're just like, bitch, do you think I know why I'm like this? How can I even explain this to you without cracking my skull open and showing you the inside? So Jake's still dragging Claire all the way home. Claire's still unloading her emotions onto Jake the whole time. And Jake's like, so what if Eli doesn't feel the same way anymore? Getting closure clearly isn't an option, so you're gonna have to figure out another way to move on. Then he asks her why does everything have to be so dramatic with her, which is so funny because he kind of just got reacquainted with her like 2 hours ago. Claire's still feeling completely justified in her drama though, so Jake's like, let's try something, you and me. He kisses her, and what do you know? Totally did something. Claire just calms down and leans into it. And Jake's like, see, all this teen romance stuff is not a big deal. We just kissed, and the world didn't blow up, and nobody had to scream. After that, we cut to school the next day. Claire dishes to Allie about the kiss as they walk down the hallway. She says that before Jake kissed her, she never could have imagined kissing anybody but Eli ever again. But then Jake kissed her, and now she's realized the world is her motherfucking oyster. She's starting to see high school romance and dating in a different light, and she's feeling more free-spirited about it. And she swears she's not about to get into another heavy relationship with Jake. They're just doing stuff for fun. And all Claire wants is to have fun. I know, sounds fake. But then Claire spots Eli at his locker. She says she owes him an apology, so she goes over to approach him. She apologizes profusely, she takes accountability, and she says that with time, maybe they can be good friends again. But she understands that for right now, Eli doesn't have any feelings for her anymore. Which is when Eli corrects her with,
I don't have feelings at all.
What?
I'm on meds. Anti-anxiety pills prescribed by my therapist.
Claire's like, holy shit, Eli, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. And Eli's like, now you do. Gives her a quick smile, then starts hobbling his way to class. And we end with Claire just processing this for a second and kind of having her recent revelation reaffirmed in a way that sometimes in life there isn't this big dramatic reason for things to happen. Sometimes it's just a kiss. And sometimes it's just pills. So there you have it. The story of Claire's infamous above the dot monologue. I give Claire Edwards a lot of shit on this channel. I acknowledge that. But today, just this once, let's give her the credit she deserves. In case the whole Claire history lesson at the beginning wasn't clear enough, the writers really loved to throw as much pain at Claire as she could possibly handle. This poor, sheltered, former Catholic schoolgirl was plunged into one of Degrassi's most tumultuous romantic relationships of all time, and we really expected her to come out of it completely normal. That being said, am I ever not gonna laugh when I have a Degrassi rewatch and I hit this monologue? Am I ever not gonna join in with her? No way. It's just too good to resist. And I don't think that means that I've lost my capacity for empathy or anything scary like that. Maybe part of it is, on some level, We're all a tiny bit jealous of Claire, because at least she got the chance to bellow her grievances out to an entire room of people and make them all stop in their tracks so she could finally express herself. Something the vast majority of us never got to do when we were teenage girls, and we were having relationship issues and parent issues and school issues all at once. And all the adults and boys in our lives were laughing at us and minimizing our problems just because we were female. Maybe when we say the monologue along with Claire or recite it with other Degrassi fans, we're also using it as an outlet for our own unresolved teenage trauma. Or maybe I'm overthinking this like a lot. That's always a possibility with me. But that's enough from me for today. Remember to give teenage girls a break once in a while, because they need it. And I'll see you next time.